Happy New Year, everyone! Today I'm looking back on all of my 2023 reading and sharing a brief, one-sentence review of every book I read in 2023. I was able to complete my Goodreads goal of 100 books, and I'm keeping my goal 100 for 2024 as well. I would love to hear how your 2023 reading went. Did you set a Goodreads goal, and were you able to meet your goal? I would love to hear whether your goal was 10 books or 200 books. All readers are welcome. Without further ado, a one-sentence review / description of every book that I read in 2023. The Breakdown by B.A. Paris. This psychological thriller will really start to get in your head, as it goes through the life of a woman who starts to forget a lot of details, but she can't forget what happened one particular fateful night, and you're left figuring out who is watching her. 4 out of 5 bookmarks. Gaslighting. Recognize manipulative and emotionally abusive people and break free by Stephanie Sarkis. Great facts, but in my opinion, not very in-depth or practically helpful. Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Both fun and confusing to read. It's an emotional roller coaster as you both love and hate the characters. 3 out of 5 bookmarks. Fairy Tale by Stephen King. Traveling to another world and on a quest to save them, it's a fun journey and in parts thought-provoking. 4 out of 5 bookmarks. Confess by Colleen Hoover. Creepy, possessive guy tries to convince woman she should be with him. 1 out of 5 bookmarks. Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. A thriller that left me on the edge of my seat and rooting for the main character. 4 out of 5 bookmarks. The Light We Carry, Overcoming in Uncertain Times by Michelle Obama. Inspiring and encouraging reflections about change, power, and showing up in our lives for others. 5 out of 5 bookmarks. The Ingenue by Rachel Kapelke-Dale. Important conversations, but very frustrating story about a creep, his creepy actions, and the way his choices affected young women. 2 out of 5 bookmarks for me. The Jungle Challenge by Bear Grylls. Fun and educational story for kids about jungle survival skills. Call Us What We Carry by Amanda Gorman. Deeply powerful poetry with intense social commentary. 4 out of 5 bookmarks. The Initiation by Ridley Pearson. Middle grade story about Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty, but the writing lacked a punch for me. 3 out of 5 bookmarks. 1,000 Heartbeats by Kiera Cass. Honestly, I don't really remember this book other than I found the story very uncompelling. 1 out of 5 bookmarks. The Misfit School of Music Craft by Jessica Corey. Very fun and imaginative middle grade fantasy that left me wanting to read more. 4 out of 5 bookmarks. Call It What You Want by Bridget Kemmerer. Very sweet young adult story about 2 people who are working through baggage from their family's past and learn what it means to do the right thing. 4 out of 5 bookmarks. 100 Days of Sunlight by Abby Emmons. A teenager who is visually impaired finds herself being visited by a teenager with a secret who doesn't listen to her or respect her boundaries, but somehow it's supposed to be a sweet love story? 2 out of 5 bookmarks. Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. 2 people with wildly different backgrounds come together over their appreciation of sad things and end up finding healing along the way. 5 out of 5 bookmarks. Have I told you this already? Stories I Don't Want to Forget to Remember by Lauren Graham. Memoir full of the typical wit and humor of Lauren Graham, this book is witty and has many scattered stories from her life. 4 out of 5 bookmarks. Fair Play, a game-changing solution for when you have too much to do by Eve Brodsky. A phenomenal book for bearing mental and physical load in the household, as long as both partners are actually invested in seeing and hearing each other well. 5 out of 5 bookmarks. What to Say Next by Julie Buxbaum. This is a sweet young adult romance with a popular girl and a shunned boy, and they get to know each other while she faces questions from her past. 4 out of 5 bookmarks. The Royals Next Door by Karina Haley. Very meh book for me, with a predictable plot and humor that tries too hard about a woman who finds herself living next door to a royal. 1 out of 5 bookmarks. Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Very riveting fantasy story, but contains pretty problematic controlling behavior from a love interest, leaving me both enjoying and disliking the book. 2 out of 5 bookmarks. Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. 2 best friends from different backgrounds make their way through life and leave the reader in an emotional mess at the end. 3 out of 5 bookmarks. Becoming Free Indeed, My Story of Disentangling Faith from Fear by Ginger Duggar-Vuolo. A memoir about changing faith beliefs that is both powerful at times and at times left me scratching my head. I usually have a hard time rating biographies and memoirs because it's a person's life, so I didn't give this one bookmarks. Reputation by Lex Croucher. Harkening back to Jane Austen, this book brings a more feminist take, but for me, it felt a little over the top and not very gripping. 2 out of 5. Curses by Lish McBride. A fun, young adult retelling of Beauty and the Beast, but this time the woman is the beast. 4 out of 5. I Don't Need Therapy and Other Lies I've Told Myself by Toni Lodge. A memoir that combines humor and poignant life truths that will give you a few points to think about. The Comfort Book by Matt Haig. Amazing and very beautiful book filled with short notes and lists that are beautifully comforting while in the midst of a very dark time. 5 out of 5. Beyond the Wand, The Magic and Mayhem of Growing Up a Wizard by Tom Felton. Fun to hear some Harry Potter behind the scenes and learn a bit more about the famous Draco Malfoy. The Ballerinas by Rachel Kapelke-Dale. This story about a previous ballerina and her reconnecting with her friends and old teacher who might or might not have had spurious intentions left me feeling sad and a little shaken and gross, although I did like her writing style for the most part. 1 out of 5 for me. Change Your Questions, Change Your Life. 10 Powerful Tools for Life and Work by Marilee G. Adams. This book has personal development questions and tips that are handy, but rather repetitive and not necessarily groundbreaking. 2 out of 5. She Deserves Better, Raising Girls to Resist Toxic Teachings on Sex, Self, and Speaking Up by Sheila Ray Gregoire, Rebecca Gregoire Lindenbach, and Joanna Sawatsky. Phenomenal book about teaching girls or even reparenting ourselves some very important messages that the church and even society have neglected to teach. 5 out of 5. Jaded, A Poetic Reckoning with White Evangelical Christian Indoctrination by Marla Taviano. Poignant poetry that takes a look at some of the difficult conversations surrounding church and why people are leaving the church. I Was Told It Would Get Easier by Abby Waxman. Decently humorous story about a mother and high school daughter, but it lacked an emotional connection for me personally. 2 out of 5. The Villa by Rachel Hawkins. Light and easy read with just enough thriller to make it interesting. 4 out of 5. Ejaculate Responsibly, A Whole New Way to Think About Abortion by Gabrielle Stanley Blair. Must read for anyone on any side of the political spectrum or in between who cares about the status of abortion. 5 out of 5 bookmarks. Farewell to Manzanar by Jean Wakatsuki Houston. A historical look at someone who was born in a Japanese internment camp. Woman Last Seen in Her 30s by Camille Pagan. A story about a woman who kind of rediscovers who she is in her 30s and learns to show up for herself. Admission by Julie Buxbaum. Young adult book about going to college, growing up, family connections, and stereotypes. 2 out of 5 bookmarks. A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. Continuing the fun and gripping fantasy elements from A Court of Thorns and Roses, redeeming a lot of what I found problematic in the first one, but still retaining some bare minimum orange flags. 4 out of 5 bookmarks. A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. Basically, same review as the last one. 4 out of 5 bookmarks. Hysterical, a Memoir by Elisa Bassist. Great thoughts on what it means to be a woman in the United States with topics ranging from medical gaslighting to Me Too. 5 out of 5 bookmarks. Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. A chemist teaches people how to cook and challenges the status quo, but her story unfortunately left me a bit confused. 3 out of 5 bookmarks. So Many Beginnings, A Little Women Remix by Bethany C. Morrow. Little Women retelling during the American Civil War did a great job in calling out racism and challenging the normal narrative. However, I didn't love the writing, even though I really wanted to. 2 out of 5 bookmarks. The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. Very deep and thought-provoking look at growing up and overcoming trauma. 4 out of 5 bookmarks. Spare by Prince Harry. At times heartfelt and at times sad memoir of Prince Harry. The Hypnotist's Love Story by Leanne Moriarty. It's a contemporary romance that also explores human nature, coming into your own, and leaves you both happy and thinking. 4 out of 5 bookmarks. Abraham's Silence, The Binding of Isaac, The Suffering of Job, and How to Talk Back to God by J. Richard Middleton. It's a good read if you've ever wondered why the Bible commends Abraham for sacrificing his son. All My Knotted Up Life, a Memoir by Beth Moore. This is the author's story of her life, including why she famously left the Southern Baptist Convention. Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. A sweet romance involving writing letters and a kidney donation and falling for someone when you didn't see it coming. 4 out of 5 bookmarks. Unbelieve, Poems on the Journey to Becoming a Heretic by Marla Taviano. Thoughtful poems on the reasons people might leave church. Happy Place by Emily Henry. Not my favorite Emily Henry, but still a sweet romance about two people who had broken up, but might just discover they still have feelings. 4 out of 5. Elevation by Stephen King. Odd story about a man who keeps getting thinner and thinner that honestly left me really wanting the story to just be over. I'm sorry, Stephen King. 1 out of 5 bookmarks. The Guncle by Stephen Rowley. Cute story written in a humorous way about a man who suddenly finds himself taking care of a niece and nephew while implementing his gay uncle or gunkle rules. Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. I love a book that's based on completing a list, and this accomplishes that well, even though I didn't feel 100% invested personally in the story. Organizing Solutions for People with Attention Deficit Disorder by Susan C. Pinsky, practical and helpful tips for anyone with ADD. The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. Thought-provoking and also confusing book to me about women, gaslighting, and mental strain. Finding Holy Spirit Mother by Ali Kattouz. Very beautiful and moving short book about the feminine references in the Bible to the Holy Spirit. Fly Away by Kristen Hanna. Almost tore my heart in half in a good and awful way, but also had great writing and also had some, in my opinion, unfair caricatures. 3 out of 5 stars. The Celebrants by Stephen Rowley. I love a story about lifelong friends, especially when it's about honoring and celebrating each other. 4 out of 5. Immersed by Janetta Penner. Young adult dystopian that I wanted to enjoy, but it just felt repetitive and too unbelievable for me. 2 out of 5 stars. Configured by Janetta Penner. Same as above, although this one I did give 3 out of 5 bookmarks. Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. Super cute romance about people overcoming other people's opinions and judgments, taking control of their own lives, and of course, in the process, falling in love. 4 out of 5 bookmarks. How the Word is Passed, A Reckoning with the History of Slavery Across America by Clint Smith. Amazing history, but very emotional book, filled with primary sources detailing a side of history that is not often taught. 5 out of 5 bookmarks. The Ichabod by J.K. Rowling. Cute middle grade book about stereotypes, fear, control, and thinking for yourself. 5 out of 5 bookmarks. High Achiever, The Incredible True Story of One Addict's Double Life by Tiffany Jenkins. A woman's journey through addiction, jail, and finding healing. The Collector's Daughter by Jill Paul. Historical fiction about a woman involved in the discovery and possible cover-ups of King Tut's tomb and treasure. 2 out of 5 for me. Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. Fun and engaging murder mystery that kept me guessing. 4 out of 5. Things You Either Hate or Love by Bridget Lowry. Young adult book that I honestly don't remember much about, except I had a hard time getting through it. 1 out of 5. The Happy Ever After Playlist by Abby Jimenez. Cute but not amazing romance for me, involving a dog, music, art, heartbreak, and of course, love. 3 out of 5 for me. Barnaby Rudge by Charles Dickens. This book, from my favorite author, was disappointing, confusing, and boring to me, although it was interesting reading about the Boxer Rebellion. 1 out of 5. Just Haven't Met You Yet by Sophie Cousins. I love the cute premise of meeting your soulmate through lost luggage, but I found this book to be only cute and not amazing. 3 out of 5 for me. X's and O's by Amy Lee. A woman goes back to talk to all of her exes in the hopes of finding the one who will be her true love, and along the way finds her true love in someone who is not an ex. 4 out of 5. A Very Typical Family by Sierra Godfrey. While I usually like stories of families reuniting and bridging gaps, this one wasn't quite my cup of tea. 2 out of 5. A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. Another iteration of Maas's fantasy world, this time from the point of view of a sister. Interesting premise, but Maas really started to lose me here. 2 out of 5. Someone Else's Shoes by Jojo Moyes. Delightful story of putting yourself in other people's shoes, learning and growing as people, and found family. 5 out of 5 bookmarks. You'll Never Believe What Happened to Lacey. Crazy Stories About Racism by Lacey Lamar and Amber Ruffin. I am not typically someone who reads humor, so I didn't like the writing style, but this book will definitely be eye-opening about racism, both the big and little stories of racism, even in nice Omaha. The Woman They Wanted, Shattering the Illusion of the Good Christian Wife by Shannon Harris. A story that will resonate with a lot of people growing up in conservative evangelicalism, particularly in the purity movement in the 90s. 5 out of 5 bookmarks. The Secrets of Heartwood Hall by Katie Lumsden. Engrossing story full of secrets, intrigue, and women looking out for women. 4 out of 5 bookmarks. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. This book follows some video game designers, their lives, ambitions, and fears, is intriguing but started losing me towards the end. 3 out of 5. A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. The series picked back up for me again, as this time the fantasy series picked up with personal growth and transformation, women empowering women, and taking back control of your own life. 4 out of 5 bookmarks. Emily of New Moon by L.M. Montgomery. Always a favorite read, with Emily being as delightfully poignant, funny, and strong as ever. 5 out of 5. Also, if you would like to listen to this book on audio, you can listen to it on my other YouTube channel, Classics with Bonnie, where I read aloud public domain books. The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. Novel take on a psychological thriller involving exes, strangers, and of course, twists and turns. Set on You by Amy Lee. A bit of an enemies to lovers story with a fitness influencer and firefighter who meet at an engagement party. 3 out of 5. Counting the Cost by Jill Duggar. Very good memoir about a woman overcoming her cult background, pursuing therapy and healing, and learning how to thrive again. Actualized by Janetta Palmer. The last book in this dystopian series, and unfortunately even more repetitive and unbelievable for me. 1 out of 5. 0 Days by Ruth Ware. A thriller involving security systems, murder, suspense, and multiple twists at the end. 4 out of 5. The Dragonette Prophecy by Tui T. Sutherland. Basically a middle grade book trying to use dragons to recreate the Colosseum and death in an attempted lighthearted way with lots of dragons, killing, and death. 1 out of 5 for me. The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. Super cute romance featuring a novelist, always one of my favorite things when a book is about books or authors, and a filmmaker who find true love on the set of a reality show. 4 out of 5 bookmarks. The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Somewhat strange story, full of places for reflection, thought, and analysis. 3 out of 5 bookmarks. Lady Tan's Circle of Women by Lisa C. Historical fiction about women accustomed to a world of foot binding and knowing their place. They discover their education, value, and the power of friendship. 3 out of 5 for me. The Only One Left by Riley Sager. Riveting from start to finish, this psychological thriller follows someone who is determined to find out what really happened in a decades-old mystery. 5 out of 5. Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. Short book with quippy sayings and readings about creativity and stealing, but not plagiarizing, other people's work. Business or Pleasure by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This romance story hinges on the spicy scenes as the main character starts to give bedroom tips to someone who is supposed to be a one-night stand. 2 out of 5. Write, Eat, Sleep, Repeat by Emma Bennett. This short book is chock full of tips and ideas for how to win a National Novel Writing Month. 5 out of 5. Romancing the Beat by Gwen Hayes. Another practical book all about how to break down story beats when writing a romance novel. 5 out of 5. Gone Tonight by Sarah Pekkanen. A very intriguing mother-daughter story where they each are asking questions about what the other person is doing or what they know. I loved it right up until the end. 3 out of 5. A Study in Scarlet by Arthur Conan Doyle. Sherlock Holmes and Watson famously join forces in their first solving of a murder, but there's quite a bit of backstory that takes place in Utah, and I just wanted to get back to London and the scene of the crime. 3 out of 5. Tell Her Story by Njay K. Gupta. This book delves into some Greek and Hebrew, as well as what is known about the history of specific women in the Bible, as well as history of the Roman time period. 4 out of 5. Cassandra in Reverse by Holly Smale. A cute time travel story about a woman who tries to fix herself and her life and discovers a lot about herself and others along the way. 4 out of 5 bookmarks. The Murder of Roger Ackroyd by Agatha Christie. I unfortunately had a very difficult time getting into this, and I don't really remember too much about it. 3 out of 5. How to Keep House While Drowning, a gentle approach to cleaning and organizing by Casey Davis. Phenomenal book, removing moral pressure and guilt from care tasks and also giving practical tips for cleaning and organizing. 5 out of 5. The Mountain Challenge by Bear Grylls, engaging middle grade book filled with practical survival tips while telling a fun story about speaking up and using your voice. 4 out of 5. The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. I loved the story, imagining a world where every Christmas, a new person is selected to be Ebenezer Scrooge and visited by 3 ghosts. This year's Scrooge ends up really impacting one of the ghosts who is a failed Scrooge herself in years past. And I know, I took 2 sentences for that one. Oops, 4 out of 5. Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. While I truly enjoyed the writing style, wit, and descriptions of the author, I didn't like how problematic the male main character was, and that made me unable to rate it any higher than 3 out of 5. A Christmas Truce by Emma Bennett. Cute romance story where a woman starts to work for a mysterious new boss and discovers feelings along the way. 3 out of 5. A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. A fun reread of a classic full of reminders to reflect and take stock of your life and the way that you live and treat people. Diana, Her True Story in Her Own Words by Andrew Morton. This book is all about the life of Princess Diana and takes the reader on a full array of the emotional experience. So there you have it, all of my books from 2023. It was a productive reading year, and I look forward to all the books yet to be discovered in 2024.